After developing the text messaging program in conjunction with SiteLink, we've moved on to create other things that people have asked for, and I think certainly most people want. But at the current time, when you send an outbound text message, the initials of the manager who has sent it, the day, date, and time that it was sent, and the full content of that outbound text message appear in tenant notes. But one of the shortcomings until just recently is the fact that an incoming, a response from one of your tenants, the content of their return text message was not going into tenant notes. In fact, the only thing that you got was a day, date, and time stamp that said on this day, date, and time they responded. What they responded, well, you'd have to go back into your archive of email to obtain that particular response as SMS Resources has sent to you. But now, like I said, after some good work between our two organizations, we've got what everybody wants and needs, and I think actually even more. Because think about it. If you have sent out, let's say, 17 late notices this morning, and you're expecting that one or two of those recipients will get back to you, the manager has to consciously go into the email to monitor, has there been some response? Well, you know, even with the advent tenant notes, that's still something that has to be monitored. If you hope that Mr. Smith, who's one of those 17, is going to, in fact, respond, you've still got to go into his tenant notes to find out if he did. So we've taken it one step better for you. Not only do you have information available in tenant notes, which gives you that full paper trail of the relationship between you and that tenant, but now we also have that information in a bulletin board. So you don't have to consciously go monitor something. The bulletin board is going to be on your dashboard saying, hey, you've got a new text message from Mr. Smith, who leases unit 1721 from you, and it says, and then the full content of the message will be there. And this is all brought to you at no additional cost whatsoever. It's just a natural follow-through on what you should be receiving, and now you do. It only comes to you from the combination of the integrated SiteLink SMS Resources text messaging program. It's not really available from any of the technology partners in the list. So now you see in front of you what you would come to if you hit the link that's going to be in the announcement email that you'll be receiving from us very soon. This number one step, log into the SiteLink Corporate Control Center, is going to take you directly into SiteLink. And you will, in the next several steps, actually go through the SiteLink software screens and clicks. So you're going to click on Corporate Users and Rights on that left menu bar. You're going to click on Users under Users and Rights. You're going to click on the Add button on the right side of the User Manager screen. And then in number 5, you're going to select the permitted sites, which are going to be all of the sites in your organization, and the permitted rights. And it's very important that you select both API Regular and API Aggregator. Then you're also going to want to create for your organization a single username and a password. Once you have selected those, you move on to step number 6, and you'll put those credentials that you created right above in number 5 on the bottom left and click OK. That is going to give you the opportunity to start data entering in the big box below these instructions. But before we actually get to them, I want to call your attention to the fact that you have one sitting at this. The idea of having one sitting is not really too hard for an organization that has 1 or 3 or 6 or 10 sites. But if you've got 25 sites, if you've got 65 sites, if you've got over 100 sites, this means you're going to have to orchestrate a time and a place to do your data entry where you have everything that you want to have in front of you. You have time to yourself, and you won't be disturbed. So let's go through the top here. When you get into item number 7, you're going to enter the corporate name and corporate code on line 1. Now, if you notice, we've got question marks next to every one of these areas. That helps to define for you exactly what we are looking for you to enter. So obviously your corporate name is the corporate name that SiteLink knows you by. The corporate code is the corporate code that SiteLink assigned to you when you first signed on with SiteLink. Now if we drop down to line number 2, you're going to enter your corporate username and your corporate password. Now those are the username and password that you created, that you selected in the instructions up above. They're going to be specific and particular to your organization. And if you forget what we're talking about, once again, corporate username's question mark is going to tell you that it's the one that you selected. And the corporate password question mark is going to tell you that it's the password that you selected. So now you're ready to move into line 3. And for each of the sites that you're going to want to have get the inbound text message information into tenant notes and also have that capability of bulletin board announcement, you're going to want to put in the location code. Well, that location code is in fact the L number that SiteLink assigned that location. You can find that information again by punching up that question mark, or actually it's defined up under A in the 8 step. Well, you move on to location name. Now this is totally and completely optional. Okay, the name of the location can actually be what the general public calls your location, what the sign on your building calls the location, what you folks in your office happen to call a location, or you could leave it blank. That really makes never mind. But the next step, that 32-character account key, is important. Now, when you hit that question mark, you see that it is the account key provided to you by SMS Resources, and SiteLink in the setup window calls it the sender ID. Now, that 32-character account key is available to you in 2 places. You have put it in the setup screen, so you could go to the setup screen in SiteLink, copy it, bring it back and paste it here. Or you could go back to the original credentials email that you received from SMS Resources and copy it from the credentials email. Now, of course, finding that in your archive of inbound emails may or may not be a task you don't want to face. So my personal opinion would be go to the setup window, and it's there for you to make use of. Now, if you notice the layout of that white area down below, if you've got several that you want to enter, once you finish location number 1, site number 1, you go to that left-hand side and you see that little button that says Add Now. And if you actually click it, you're going to actually see it comes up with another box. And if we clicked it again, it's going to come up with a 3rd box. Well, maybe you overstepped. You only have 2 and you don't need the 3rd. So you could go over to the right-hand side of any one line and there's a remove link. Just click remove and you get rid of that line. Now you're going to want to have that as a handy idea in case you make a mistake in entering anything, or you entered something over and above that you thought you had to, you can remove it. But most important thing to remember is you only get one shot at this. So you're going to want to make sure, like I said, that maybe you've got yourself into a place where you're alone and you can focus your attention on entering this kind of information. After you're satisfied with the entry of your locations, you have to come down and, as many things on the web, click that button that says, "I'm not a robot." And then you had better not forget that you want to go into the sign up button. But if you go and hit that sign up, you are into the system. But there's one last thing you must remember. If you do all that data entry and you don't hit the sign up button, all the data entry that you've taken the time and effort to put in will be lost. So it's most important that you make sure before you close the window, you hit sign up. And the last thing that's as important, after you complete steps 1 through 10, this step 11 is certainly most important for you. You need to text to 386-627-0791 the message, "Tenant Notes Sign Up Complete for," and then you can insert the name of your company. That way, we at SMS Resources can do the turning of the switch that we have to do, and once we do, you are able to receive tenant notes, all the content of your inbound responses from your customer base, and see that information come up as a bulletin board on the SiteLink dashboard. Please enjoy. Remember, it's at no cost to you. We think it's a very, very convenient aspect of the program. And don't forget, SMS Resources is the only one who brings it to you.